Hello and welcome to the Low-Code Campfire. This is episode number 216 for Friday, October 17, 2025. Today is an Open Lines Friday. I have room to talk about whatever it is that you want to talk about. I am Dale Warner, Head of Support for Plant an App, and this is an event that we do most Fridays, 10 a.m. Central Time. It's just an opportunity to get together and talk about what's going on with our projects and our usage of Plant an App and perhaps get some help along the way. We record all of these and put them on YouTube, so you can get to them at youtube.com/plantanap. We do this agenda week by week. We always stop and say hello because we're a friendly group, and then we pick from these other topics that are in number 2 there. We always start with 2A, first call, and whatever you've submitted in advance. Nothing submitted in advance today. And then we look at some of the other areas. And then after an hour or so, we go into Afterglow. That's where we turn off the recording and hang out for a little bit longer. So we do encourage you, jump in, engage, show and tell, just participate here in the group. You can submit questions and topics in advance simply by sending an email to that support address. And I'll do a little bit of research if I have time, and then we'll get it on the agenda to talk about. With that, I will stop and say hello to one and all.
Hello.
Good morning.
Oh. Hello.
All right. Did somebody bring something first call you'd like to talk about? I'm going to encourage you to do it because I have a pretty light day.
All right then. Since crickets are happening, I'll ask this. Dale and I were just talking via support tickets about an issue, and I want to just ask a rather general question. Anybody that's done this, and it's actually less plant an app and more DNN specific, and it's reverting a module from the latest version to a previous version because you forgot that you had a patch in the previous version. So I went and brought a module up, and what are the general issues there? Everything that I've seen is geared towards moving forward, not stepping backwards in DNN, so I don't know.
So I'll say in my experience, I agree with what you said. It's all about stepping forward, and DNN doesn't let you natively roll back. It's um, it's possible, but always with trepidation. So, for example, if you had you, I think you're talking specifically about forms and listings, and I think there's one main module. Maybe there's only one module there. Um,
That's my take on form and list. It's just the one main module.
and it wouldn't surprise me if just replacing the DLL back to the patched DLL, um, maybe checking to see if that DLL is mentioned in the web config so that uh, if it's if it's not mentioned, that's the easiest thing. It's just whatever version is in the bin folder is going to get used. If it is mentioned, there might be a specific version on it, and you might have to adjust it. But there's a good chance just putting that module back in place and everything will run. But if there were data changes involved in that upgrade, that that could be confusing to it. Um, and really, there's other. I mean, um, the only safe and sure way that I know of is to actually roll back the site to a pre-upgrade state. But there's a good chance if you had a clone, for example, and could test things out, I suspect just changing out the DLL would work.
Oh, very good. Yeah, I hadn't considered just doing that. So from that perspective, the best practice kind of thing would be to go to the release notes of the previous two because we had 655 is the version of form and list that contains the patch. So if we go from 655, 65, whatever, I guess they have 6, 7, and 8. 8 is the latest, and just look at the release notes, and if there's some mention of database change, then um, we have a larger problem. But if there isn't any mention of database change and the bugs are more some cosmetic, some you click here, it does the wrong thing, code based, then chances are really good that it'll work. And then your point about making sure that the version number in web config is correct if it's mentioned at all. So, okay, those are reasonable steps to try.
I I think too that the standard DNN mechanism, if you look at the install package of whatever you installed, that there is the upgrade that you installed. There's a SQL, a very readable SQL um, set of changes, and so um, you can look and see what database changes the script that was used to upgrade. So there might be none, or there might, if it has changes, that's I think you could see that pretty much from the upgrade package, pretty straightforward.
Got it. All right, we'll do.
It's called SQL Provider and the version number or something like that. So probably runs all, I think, don't quote me, but I think it runs all of the different ones from your previous version till now. So you could just download, unzip that package and look at the SQL Provider scripts and see what it actually did to your database.
Oh, okay. That assumes that it's relatively recent that I did that, and it's been a while since I did
Hmm.
the upgrade. It's one of these things where um, form and list is being used, interestingly enough, as a menuing um, function, and so that doesn't often change. And
Hmm.
so they didn't notice it. And then when they went to edit it, they saw that you click on the edit button and the link that the edit button generates, the formula list generates to edit a record, um, is corrupted. We have the fix for it uh, to so that it's no longer corrupted, but then you need to go and do the patch. Yeah, so that's I don't have the latest, but Mark mentioned Stefan, who has done form and list. I didn't realize he was still maintaining form and list, but I can certainly reach out to him as well with the with the with the patch to see if they're interested in doing one more upgrade. I know there's several other issues that are sitting there, and it hasn't been upgraded for a little while, but maybe they will.
Yeah,
Um,
right. I just saw that Stefan said he is not regaining or taking the project back over again. He just had a late contribution. So, but I'm sure he would give you some advice on how to do that.
Got it. Got it. Very good. I
uh,
think the smart thing. Well, I'm gonna pitch it. We have the DNN guys do a co-code thing every Friday at 1 Central, and I'm gonna jump on there and say hi to Daniel and see what his advice is, and then I can also reach out to Stefan, and that would be great to do it the proper way, of course, but to get it so that it works for everybody. But I also have a live system that I got to get back working again. So if that patch idea of reverting just by changing the DLL will do the trick, I'd do that, and it's very quick.
yep.
Involving committees and updates and all of that stuff takes time.
Um, I was going to try to on that patch that I showed you. It looks like the problem has to do with a malformed URL. It's using an ampersand instead of a question mark or something like that. I suspect, just as a workaround, if you tried to do the edit and it came up with the wrong, if it built the URL incorrectly, your you could simply edit the URL that it generates and change the question mark to an ampersand or vice versa,
Yes,
whatever
yes.
it is.
In fact, the tech at the company knows how to do that, and so that is a workaround. But the person that is responsible for making the changes is not technical savvy.
Yep,
So
yep.
that's why we want to,
Or
get
you could
the
even give them a shortcut link to, unless there's a lot of these different modules around. You could
yeah.
just
It's really more of a here's the technique to take the link that's generated and convert the link that's generated into the link that you want. Um, um, but that's just a little bit on the techie side for them.
yeah. No, I understand. I just, I always try to figure out if there's a way around the problem while you're waiting for the fix, even if
Yes,
you
yes,
can't.
exactly, exactly. So that's why it's not as, it's not, there's no burning fire. There's just a little smolder and a little frustration.
Yes. Yep. Good.
Thanks for that.
Sure. What else? First call.
Yeah, I have a question
Ah, hand
for
up and
the,
everything.
I know, I'm too polite. Um, for the single file uploads, uploading images, is there a list of file types that are supported? Particularly, I'm wondering about WebP and SVG. I think it is formats for images.
So that it shows an image when you connect it.
Yeah. So you've got your file types. The ones that I'm looking at documentation to find the file extension, blah, blah, blah. And it says sample txt cs doc in the documentation. And I've got, for this image that it's actually a company logo, looking to support, of course, PNGs, JPEGs, and potentially WebP and SVG. Do you know anything about that?
Don't. I was going to try to find it as we go here.
While you're doing that, I'd be happy to actually contribute something rather than ask a question. I have had that situation. I don't believe that DNN supports WebP yet now, because I've tried this as well. I've ended up converting the files. The upload is based on what extension it is, which is under the host settings. You
Right.
provide the settings, so that's the first step. But even after you say, that WebPs are fine to upload, they don't work. So um,
Okay.
not
Yeah,
supported. I think they probably would work if you just had it in an HTML module, but I don't think that the logo code supports WebP or CVG. I'm only guessing, but I've fought with it and gave up on it and converted the files to pings or JPEGs, depending on.
yeah. So this is the file I'm attempting to upload is a company logo, but it's not the DNN logo. In other words, it would be used in an HTML module.
So it's
So
an SVG file. Are you how okay? It should be able to be uploaded, right?
yeah.
The problem is the concern that you have with the way that single file upload renders, or what you do with the file after it gets uploaded.
No, I know I know what to do and so on and so forth. But the question really was in the file types, the list of file types that are supported for upload using the form upload capability, assuming, of course, that you have WebP as, let's just say WebP for now, as one of the available supported extensions, then is uh, is there any limitation as to the form, whether or not I can put WebP in the form and have it upload and work?
No, if it's present here
Yeah.
in the security settings, then we will allow it to be uploaded.
Okay.
That sounds doubtful.
No, no, no.
Oh, okay.
No, it's not. I will trust but verify.
Okay.
Cool.
Um,
Thank you.
sure. I had a support ticket come up with in the area of single file upload that's probably worth mentioning. Um, so when you're configuring a single file upload, there's these parameters having to do with file size limit and whether or not you show the maximum allowable size in the error message. But this client they were trying to upload a file that was bigger than all of the IIS settings would allow. So what happens is uh, when you connect a file like that, it will, when you click to choose a large file, uh, it will allow you to do that. And then when you click the submit button, it ends up coming up with an error. So the error, if the file is bigger than what IIS is expecting, then IIS throws I don't remember what the error number is, a 503 or something, a server error. And if you were to look at the inspect console, you would be able to see in the network tab that it's the request to upload the file comes back with this error message, and it clearly says the file's too big. Whatever the message is, it means the file's too big. So um, it's kind of a combination thing where you have to have IIS configured to accept whatever the maximum size that you want to allow throughout your site, and then you can use these settings to limit the file size, and so long as it falls under the IIS limit, you'll get a nice error message that says, "Hey, that's too big." But if it's the other way around, if it's bigger than what IIS has, our code doesn't even get a chance to run, um, and the file will you'll just get a generic error message, and it's kind of hard to debug. Did any of that make any sense?
Yeah, everything's going to be in sync.
So that leads me to one of the few things that I did prepare in our documentation. I've been showing off and continuing to update. In our Getting Started guide on learn.planetapp.com, there's this section, Settings and Configuration now, and I've moved a couple of pre-existing topics into that, but then I have this guide, Settings for Large File Uploads. And so this walks you through if you wanted to set up, for example, a 50 megabyte upload, it's all the different settings that are necessary to change to get IIS to be happy, and then um, adjusting DNN as well. So if you need to do that, there's a nice handy guide.
Well, while you were uh, otherwise occupied, I did successfully upload and view a WebP in form. So,
Nice.
question answered. Thank you.
Absolutely. And that is, I think, yeah, part of the challenge that we all have as low-code developers is what's being restricted by the DNN platform and what's being restricted by Plantain app. And it's another one of those things that things have to be in sync. In this case, the restriction is coming from the DNN security. We follow that security. Alrighty. What else? There was one post to the community forum this last week about a possible bug. It was in fact a bug, and so it's probably worth mentioning just that it is a bug so that you don't run headlong into it and spend time on it. But then the other part of it is, hey, I have this bug, and the other part of it is, how do I report a bug? And aside from putting it onto the community portal, which is just fine, opening a support ticket is probably the best way because you'll get responses back as we fix it and things like that. But whatever you find, we'll happily take a look at it and work through it. So this is a bug having to do with if you use an entity as a data source for a listing and you have a name like O'Connor with an apostrophe, that our filtering doesn't work very well. You'll see the O'Connor show up in the, and I probably have this, I can probably show it where the person's talking about it. No, I do have it here somewhere. Here it is. So we have a name like O'Connor, and it's in the test value. Test value, it shows up as something that you can filter for, but when you click it, it filters it out. So it's not handling apostrophes very well. If you do the same thing, this is a SQL data source instead. SQL handles it well. So I can't believe that, as far as I know, this has been around for a long, long time. I think, Patrick, you'll probably be, I think that was you expressing a little bit of surprise about that one. But it's surprising that this bug would go on this long and not be reported. So it's just we have this data entity called entity filter test, and it has that, that's the source. And then on the test value, it's filterable. So it's just a very simple configuration and just doesn't do well with apostrophes.
The value in the dropdown might be encoded, and that's the value that it passes to the data source, maybe.
Yes, I'm sure I'm sure it has to do with encoding one way or the other, but so again, it was a good quick mystery. We've got it on the list now to fix it, but there's a workaround. So long as you have access to SQL as a data source, you can do a SQL query for the same thing. Rather, you select star from the entity rather than just doing the entity data source, and you can work around it. Patrick, unfortunately, you're a little garbled. I don't know what's going on, at least to me.
Yeah. My like.
Can you hear me better now?
We can.
Okay. I think my battery's going dead on my headset. I was wondering if the problem happens with other commonly encoded characters.
Well, I tried some other ones here, and actually, it occurs to me I didn't try quote, so let's, but So far, the only one that I found is apostrophe. Let's also
Okay.
try quote. Quote is just fine.
Yeah, interesting.
But and like back quote. So single quote is the one that gets us. Just doesn't work at all. But I tried all these other ones, and it's just anything that has. In the case that he was reporting was just he happened to have a value that was just the single quote, but it was really if it contains a single quote, that's a problem. So,
Did you try the tilde?
yes, tilde is fine. So here, which oh, tilde, sorry, that would be the wavy line, correct?
Yes, the shift, the upper left keyboard. Yeah, there you go.
Here,
Yeah,
it's fine.
okay. Now I'm relieved. Thank you.
Filtered on the problem character. Did you had two? Did you have two things checked so it blocked both of them out?
Uh, I did a lot of clicking really quick, but that let's focus on what you were just saying. If we just so we have no filters going on, and if we do just the one, if I can figure out which character it is, this one. It's the only one selected, and it filters everything out.
But then if you have two check boxes there that are checked, are you okay? You're still getting the other. All right.
Yeah,
It's
so
just
this
filtering
is
out the.
yeah. It's doing the right thing for these two. This is an additive kind of a thing, but this is just not. So anyway, nice good mystery and something to be reported. So we've got that in. Find my way back. So that was on the community forum, and yeah. Oh, yes, this is exactly he had even found the solution SQL query as a workaround, but it's unfortunate that he had to redo everything to support that. That's the only thing we had on community forum. So moving on. I already showed you my update to large file uploads, continuing to try and make progress week by week on documentation. I didn't add, and I don't think anybody else added anything as a campfire contribution.
A quick question on status for 128.
Yes.
What is the status for 128?
The status is that we've already made the decision to defer anything in our work that can be deferred. So, for example, I mentioned last week that Bootstrap 3 removal, which we had talked about for version 128, that got pushed back to 129. So we're trying anything that we can avoid doing in 128 in terms of advancing the product, just so that we can achieve compatibility. But we undertook a lot of big things in 128, and they're not done yet. So the last that I heard is that it's going to be sometime in November that it will be ready for beta testing. And that does bring me probably to a topic that we could explore if there's nothing else. What are the big things, some of the big things that are going on in 128? So I'll jump there next, but first, anything that you guys have that you want to talk about? All right, here we go. So, two of the biggest things that, and these are, I don't know how much they will impact you at this point, other than this is the fun of working on the most recent version of the product. Every time somebody merges some code, we get a new, we have to install it. So there's always, anytime you browse to a 128 site, there's always dependencies to be installed anyway.
I missed that.
You what? You missed it?
Just kidding around.
Yeah.
I do miss working with the most current versions, though. But
yes, knowing what's coming. So these two topics are things that I think are going to be a benefit to all of us, but in terms of you installing this and saying, oh wow, this is wonderful, it's not shiny like that. So there's two things. One is that the token engine got completely, I guess they say refactored. They redid it all. So it's still the tokens that you know and love, and we've talked about this somewhat already. But under the covers, all this was changed, and part of this was to standardize it. And so far, the biggest thing on that one to know that's a negative is that the random token went away. Yeah, it's out. Which you can accomplish other ways, but if you have used the random token to try to get different results at different, try to somewhat joggle. Has anybody tried to use it? Has anybody used that in their projects?
not in a
Used
while.
random.
Yeah, I used to use it. I don't anymore.
I've got it in a number of places.
Okay. So that's coming your way. It's going away. You'll have to find a different.
That's pretty easy to do in just a Razor script, so that's an easy replacement for it.
Probably even easy to find even a better replacement, because the
Yeah.
old syntax was pretty. My earliest. Now I'm going back to the 70s here, guys, but my earliest exposure to randoms was getting a random number in BASIC, and you would get a number between 0 and 1 with some level of precision, and you'd have to do something with that answer. Our random in Plant and App is, here are the list of choices, return one of these. So it could be a color or an A or a B or a C or whatever, but you had to specify all the things, and it would just pick one. And it wasn't very advanced, but it was also didn't fit our normal pattern, or what is now our normal pattern of tokens. So given that it's rarely used, we are throwing it away as a breaking change. So sorry to you, Mark, that you'll have to find those spots. Remember to use the global search that should be able to help you find them and eliminate them.
Just a really minor thing, but I just was curious. It looks like still haven't that the core tokens still aren't alphabetized. I thought that was something we talked about at some other point. That just seems like that would be such an easier way to find things in that core token list. Really minor.
I don't remember that, but it does make sense that it would be a nice thing to have alphabetized.
I think we talked about it at some point, but yeah.
Yeah, we did, because that was the first thing I noticed when you brought up that screen.
I've been looking forward to that.
Yeah.
All
It
right.
seems like it would be such an easy thing to toss in if you've yeah.
All right. So
Because the your custom tokens, all the custom tokens are alphabetized, so it would be consistent, with
all right, I've made a note. I'll bring that to the product team and see. And remember, just a minute ago, I said we throw everything overboard that we don't have to do to get 128 out. So I have no idea, no promises, but I'll bring it back to the and I'll make a card for it. That means someday it might get done. All right. So token engine got completely rewritten. I've done a lot of testing against it, trying to make sure that everything that works exactly the same way as it used to in terms of results. But this is in preparation for doing other things. Some of it is, um, these like test in this case is a namespace. That's what it's a token namespace, test colon whatever. And we're heading towards, um, sorry for my, where the um, namespaces on tokens are the same thing as namespaces everywhere else in the product. That there's only one list of namespaces and they'll all be the same. And so that's part of the change. Another was that it's should be faster and having some other uh,
is
well,
that you said you're heading that direction, but is that change not officially in 128 where there's the token namespaces and other namespaces are aligned, or is it officially there?
So let's do a quick check. This is 128. If I go to workflows and look at changing the namespace, there isn't a test listed,
Okay.
so it's not
Yeah.
there yet. We're still in the part of trying to bring everything into um, within tokens, cleaning up the part where there were different. Some tokens could be per portal, and
Yeah.
that's part of what got cleaned up there as well. So again, the goal would be you won't even notice a difference in using tokens, but under the hood, we've gotten rid of things that what do we call that? Technical debt. Old things we're throwing and doing it the new way and preparing for the future. But it you won't really notice anything. The
Is
other
there
one,
still going, sorry, just one more. Is there still going to be two types of Razor tokens, the old type and the new type? Is that still in
we
place?
have not. There's been no discussion about
Okay.
eliminating the
Good.
old
Okay.
style. Yeah. I since they wouldn't be easily convertible.
Mhm.
I would think we would give lots of notice on that one.
Okay.
Right. So the other change, and maybe easiest to show here in SQL Console, is we're unifying the action engine. So if you don't know anything about how actions are stored in the database, you can almost tune out here. But um, as I think all you on the call know, but for anybody else who's listening after the fact, Plantain App grew out of DNN Sharp. DNN Sharp had a number of individual products like Action Form, Action Grid, My Tabs, or Tabs Pro, different products. And each one of them had a place to store actions so that you could install one product and do actions, and the actions were in a table. And so they were, I think we had actions in perhaps 6 different places, and then 6 different tables in the database. And then there was a complexity because when you use something like execute actions, the action content was actually stored in JSON inside of that execute action wherever that lived. And so at the point when it needed to be used, that JSON would be extracted and used. So there wasn't some nice straightforward data structure to say these are all the actions that are in use in different places throughout the product. So with the unified action engine, they are all going to be here in the PAA, in the database in the PAA namespace. I've only done some cursory examination of this, but I believe that it goes something like this. So there is now each action stack gets an identifier. And then within that, and let's just comment these out as I go. PAA actions is and grab one of these here just in case. So all the actions that belong to an action stack will, and I see there's an action stack ID in here. So I'm betting that, let's go back. So we have action stack ID 1, 2, and 3. I think if we were to do actions. Yeah, there is an action stack ID. So I don't necessarily know all the relationships yet, so maybe I'll steer away from that. So actions exist in the actions table. We'll see some of the ones more recently added. So like there's a run SQL action that's part of a particular action stack. And then there are action stack parameters, which is, where is it? Action parameters. It's taking a long time to run. Oh. Managed to blow up the SQL console, I think. Let's try.
I should have thrown an error.
You would hope so. So then we see the parameters. So each of these actions have whatever it is. So this one, this looks like a reference to another action list and whatever. So point is, instead of it being in 6 different tables or more and all being in JSON format, now it's in a structured SQL format and they're all available. So this opens up down the line the ability, for example, that if you want to search where have I used the run SQL action, it won't be looking all over your database for select statements. It will be looking in the action param or the action the PAA actions and its parameters to find out that. So I think eventually what we'll see is the ability to search and maybe replace and find things easily, whether we build them or you build them. I know we have people who have built tools like that in the past, and I could see that happening again. But anyway, in the short term, it would just be a conversion. The first step is we're moving everything into these new tables and making them all work from there. We're not providing any new tools in this release. So again, you don't see anything amazing out of it. It's building for the future. But all this is in motion and it has to be finished and done well, or else it has to be done well before we can release, or it will make you crazy, right?
I imagine the migration scripts for that are going to be pretty
substantial.
Yeah. Wow.
I noticed in that topic, I noticed here that nope, not that one. I think, yeah, so there was migrate parameters JSON. I think older actions that we preserved where the JSON that it was coming from so that it would be debuggable to see if we didn't do it right. But or I don't know if it's part of debugging or if it was part of they put it here and then moved them into the parameters. But yeah, there are tracks. But yes, it's a big thing, and it obviously has to be done right in all cases so that when you install it, it just works. So, any reaction, positive or negative, to consolidation of action stacks? If nothing else, this might provide some explanation about why we just don't release it and say, let's do DNN 10. Well, DNN 10 doesn't work with our older version, and 128 is substantially in progress. So we have to finish in order. The only way forward is through.
I mean, I think it's a really good move. It is a big deal. I'm very appreciative of that. But I think it'll make it more transparent when you're trying to find stuff. So that's good.
Mm-hmm. In the weeks to come, so separate effort going on, different developers. We're always trying to advance the product in different ways, and we've mentioned before that there's Forms 2.0, and so there's a developer that's working on trying to get a prototype of our next forms builder out, and whether we take that, I looked at it today. It's still not really enough to in good enough shape that it's worth showing yet. So we'll wait another week or two and try and bring that in so you can see other things where you'll start to see where we're going. And again, that's not a tangible benefit to you. We won't be able to do anything substantial with it right away. It wouldn't be for production use, but at least you'll know where we're going.
Is it going to be included in 128 at all, or not yet?
Yes, it is in 128. It's actually an extension that you can add on. So
okay.
Out of the box, you won't even see it. But if at the point that we're ready to, anybody wants to test it, you'll just be able to get the extension and add it to 128.
Okay.
I did it this morning. It installs and it's no problem to get going. It drops on just like any other module and starts out just like forms used to with the, manage this form kind of thing. It's just a completely different interface. Um, and uh, as if you didn't know, the idea is all about providing better layout options and a more modern feel to the experience. So it's more about, at this point, more about the feel. We know how to do the details, but we haven't done all the details. So that's why it's kind of pre-showing. You might get a feel for it, but you'd say, well, where's my thing? Where's what I need? Well, it's coming. All right. Where did we get to? All right. I've blathered on for about almost an hour, so we can call it an hour. I'm still happy. I don't have any dark corners. I don't have any ghost stories that I chased this week. If anybody has any stories or wants to show and tell anything, now's the time.
This is once again a really minor thing that I noticed. I don't know. Maybe it's updated in a later version of 127, but in 126, when you collapse the menu in configuration, when you mouse over the icons, you have tooltips for each of the icons. But in 127, I've noticed that those tooltips are not there. Really. So if you collapse your menu,
No.
maybe it happens either way, but in 126 there were tooltips there.
I happen to have a 126 system to compare to, so let's take a look. And I suspect that would be an accidental drop.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Yeah. Waking it up.
Mm. So now that you've watched me click around here and I've got my green dot where I'm clicking, does that enhance the experience or is that just annoying?
No, I think I've noticed it and it helps pull your attention to where you're clicking. Is that are you doing that in Zoom or are you doing the Windows tools?
Power Toys, yeah.
Power Toys, yeah.
So this is a 126. We collapse it and we have entities, pages. Yep. And if we don't collapse it, yep. So it's,
yeah, really
it's
minor thing, but I find it useful because I do like to use that collapsed menu.
okay. Good. Good to know. Um, so let me write that down. And that reminds me of one very small topic, just a reminder to anybody who's using the page builder theme. If you log in and you have the persona bar, there is this advanced settings link here on persona bar that will hide that. And the problem is that once you hide it, if you forget, you're logged in as a super user, your persona bar is missing. Why is it missing? There's really not any, hey, click here to get it back kind of thing. So just calling out that advanced settings is the way to hide it and to bring it back. And that's a persona bar thing. Anyway.
Have you gotten some support tickets about that?
No, it's me. I log into
Oh.
a state and I have no persona bar, and it's like racking my brain nowhere to go. And so it just came to the top
Yeah.
this week. All right. Very fine. Then I will just say thank you for spending your hour with us. And if you're inclined, hang around for Afterglow, and we will do it again next Friday, 10 a.m. Central Time. Thanks all.
Thanks, Dale.